Hello, Chris.
Hello, Hillary.
Happy St. Patrick's Day episode.
Oh, that's right. It's your holiday.
It is my holiday. It's my people's holiday.
If St. Patrick's Day was pink instead of green, but still for the Irish, that would be you.
It would be me. But today, instead of a pot of gold, we have an excellent episode. Lots
of talk about wine barrels, the different animals that inhabit Napa Valley, the sheep, the coyotes, and a very household name.
Yep. So stay tuned and join us for Silver Oak.
All right. Welcome to Nate Weis.
Hello, everybody, and we're back after our winter break with an episode of 9-1 Wine.
Hello, Hillary.
I can see you're so pumped to be here, per usual.
I'm sweating a little bit because I'm late.
And I almost fired you.
I was never hired, so it would be impossible to fire me.
True.
But I showed up late. I forgot the cords I needed to have.
But you're here.
I've already been drinking. But I made it.
Okay. I'll take... I knew when I signed you up for this, I just expected your presence here. I didn't expect it to
I am
be so
truly
good.
Just the pretty face.
So glad that this is a podcast without a YouTube channel. So today we are on location all the way down in Oakville, not quite to the big city, just halfway. And we have a very special guest. He grew up in St. Helena. His father's a winemaker. He also grew up in the vineyards, just like all of us did. You guys more than me.
Free range.
Yeah, exactly. Has worked harvest in New Zealand. Has graduate degrees and has been the VP of Silver Oak winemaking, and he started in Silver Oak in 2014. So we have Nate.
Cool.
Welcome.
Thanks, Nate.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Heck yeah.
Lauren Booker to the rescue with the cords, by the way. Gotta give a shout out.
She is our savior.
My
savior. I owe her probably a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
My reputation is really, was at stake.
It was.
not that it's going to get any worse.
That podcast Grammy is out the door.
Is there an awards for podcasts?
There should be. There's not.
The whammies.
Like the Emmys, but maybe, I don't know, a little more hipster?
The Hill Hops.
That would be good.
That'd be fun. Well, thanks, Nate. Appreciate your patience, first of all, and then hanging out with us. Mm-hmm. Have you told him about our podcast?
A little bit.
And he hasn't left yet?
Not yet. He's still sitting here.
It's impressive. We locked the door.
We did.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to jump between November 2022 and then November 2014.
Why'd you pick that year, Hillary?
Because as I just stated, that's the year he started here at Silver Oak.
Very nice. So much thoughtfulness. Mm-hmm. Cool.
The crime log brings so much joy. How could I not sit in on this?
Right?
From St. Helena, did you ever make it into the police log, Nate?
You can't prove that.
I was going to say, you're starting off with the hard
Big
questions.
Not by name, but perhaps by association or by act.
That's fair.
Yeah, you can't prove it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it.
I feel like there's almost a concern of growing up here, you never made it once.
Oh,
like
I don't trust anyone.
What were you doing?
I wouldn't trust anyone if they'd not been in the police log.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know, just a thought.
Well, you can get in for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in it for losing a dog once.
Exactly.
It's easy.
You don't have to be a master criminal to make it into the police.
I'll be lighting off fireworks or pushing ladies down on Main Street.
Are you speaking from experience?
I've never done either of those. Promise. At least one of them. You can guess.
Definitely. Fireworks.
So, do we want to start with a fun one?
I do.
I'm sure you have a good one.
I'm starting.
Yeah, you start.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, this is 2014, report of a white F-150 picking up roadkill and driving slowly and erratically. First on Vintage Avenue and then on Larkmead Lane in Silverado Trail, where two men were looking at a dead bird. One man, the shorter one, was wearing a tank top and had long hair. The larger man was wearing a black hat.
I can see it. That sounds like a cartoon.
What were they doing with the roadkill?
I don't know.
This is near Thanksgiving.
Well, maybe they were going to have a different kind of turducken.
I find nothing erratic about picking up roadkill personally.
29 turducken. On that same theme, on the avian theme, Sunday, November the 7th at 10 o'clock at night, there was a report of an injured owl on top of a car on Pope Street. It got spooked and flew away. which leads me to believe it wasn't really injured.
It was just having a moment.
Just had a moment.
Little breakdown.
Sounds like takes one to know one.
Can you tell us about what we're drinking right now?
Yeah, we're starting out with some Sauvignon Blanc. So this is not a Silver Oak wine because Silver Oak is life. Life is a Cabernet. That's what my license plate cover says. But we started another brand in 1999, and Twoney Cellars was sort of the way to do everything else. And we sort of ventured down a lot of different roads, and now we're sort of focused on Pinot Noir and Sauvignon Blanc. So it's actually half from Napa County, half from Sonoma County. So we have 2 vineyards here in Napa. Actually, right here in Oakville, outside this winery, believe it or not, we don't grow Cabernet. We grow Sauvignon Blanc.
Okay.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Soils are a little heavier here, a little bit more vigorous, and probably about 10 years ago we decided it was better Sauvignon Blanc ground than it was Cabernet. And then we own a vineyard at Calistoga and 2 in the Russian River Valley, so we sort of put all those together and make this wine. And this is, along with the Ovid Experiment White, the only 2 white wines we make.
I've seen the Ovid. I didn't. Okay, so that's
Yeah, I was
also
gonna
a
say,
Silver
we
Oak
probably
project.
need to back up a little bit. I jumped right into it.
No, this is great.
Yeah,
So-
can you tell us a little bit about Silver Oak and the mothership and all of its entities?
Yeah. So last year was a big year. It was our 50th anniversary last year.
Ooh.
Founded in 1972 by Justin Meyer and Ray Duncan. Still owned by the Duncan family, so we're still a family-owned winery. And for a long, long time, it was just Silver Oak. And they started out, we're going to make Cabernet. We're going to age it in American Oak. That's still what we do. So very focused, very consistent with the style and the winemaking and so on. And then this would be 24 years ago now, in 1999, they decided to branch out and do other things. And that was the birth of Twoney. And then 2017, there was the opportunity to get involved at Ovid. So the Duncan family decided to acquire Ovid, which is awesome. It's kind of literally right behind us up on this hill. Beautiful spot up on Pritchard Hill. Singular wines, really cool estates. Kind of unlike anything else in Napa Valley, I think. And so that's been a really fun part of our work here is getting to know Ovid, bringing the team into the fold. We've planted a little bit more vineyard up there, which is awesome and has been a really neat project.
Cool.
And then we started another brand in 2020 called Timeless Napa Valley. So there's 4 brands under the Duncan family labels, and Silver Oak is easily the kind of the 800-pound gorilla.
Because I've seen the Ovid label before, which is really cool. It looks like a tag, right? It has a little string around the top, and it has all the very detailed specifics on exactly what varietal is in each, like down to the hundreds on it, which is really cool.
Wow.
Which I appreciate. It's like
And if you saw the Ovid White, I think it's 15 different varieties.
Yeah.
It's like, why make it easier? Why make it simple?
Nice.
So there's a lot of different varieties from literally all over the state. So our winemaker goes to the foothills, he goes up to Laytonville, he goes all over the place looking for Pic Pool Blanc or Roussanne or Marsanne.
Way cool.
Because Napa Sauvignon Blanc was just too easy.
Now you have 15 things in one. So you obviously ferment separately, and then you blend later on and figure out what works. And come up with a blend.
Exactly.
Cool. So then how much, as the VP of winemaking, are you involved in all projects?
It's an interesting question. Like, what do I do here is the question.
Hey, what is it you say you do, Bob?
Yeah, I ask myself. I find myself asking myself that question quite a bit. So we're in Napa County. We're in Sonoma County. We have a winery in Philo up in Mendocino. We have a spot up in Oregon. We buy grapes from the Central Coast. So I don't find myself too involved in really anything, just because there's a lot to get involved in.
Yeah.
So we farm about 750 acres right now, and we've got 8 different winery sites, and so it's there's a lot going on at any given time. So the key is having a really good team and sort of getting out of their way, really. So sort of trusting them to do their thing.
So how much would you say your time is spent between like traveling, going to vineyards, in the cellar, in the office? If you had to put
it really depends on the time of year. I love harvest because I don't have any other responsibilities. I can kind of say no to everything else. You want to have a meeting about some sort of marketing issue. Not right now. We'll do that after harvest. But this time of year when it's a little bit slower and we haven't had bud break, I spend a lot of time behind the computer at my desk and stuff like that.
Cool. Catching up. Nice.
I spend most of my time in the car, if I'm going to be perfectly honest.
Absolutely. I love it.
Cool.
Good. And what brought you to Silver Oak originally?
You know, I'd been making wine around the valley in a few different places. Reed Skepti and I, we first met at Antinori. So that was kind of where we got introduced.
Nice.
And I sort of decided it was time for a change. And growing up around here, I knew the reputation of Silver Oak, both as quality and also as a place to work. So everybody that you knew that worked at Silver Oak, you know, they would rave about it. And they never left. So we had people that work here for 40 years and retire. You know, they work here their entire careers. I was making fun of Lauren when she first started, our mutual friend, because we had a lot of people that had, when she first started here, we had a lot of people who'd been working here for like a decade before she was even born. It's crazy. People come here, they work here their whole lives.
I love it.
That's the best compliment.
It really is.
It's a great compliment, and it's all because of the way that the family sort of builds the culture. And that's really what I was looking for. I was looking for a place where we're going to have a lot of fun, have a really good time doing what we do, because it's growing grapes and making wine. Like, if it's not fun, it can be miserable, right? And then a place that just really wanted to be on the cutting edge, innovate, you know, look at new ways of doing things, and they were really all about that.
Nice.
Cool.
And Silver Oak is such a classic Napa brand. I mean, it's
known
been here,
everywhere.
everywhere. I mean, if you go to anywhere, I mean, you guys are probably in all 50 states and international and
All 50 states. I think it's 54 countries now.
Wow.
You know, my mom will go to Michigan. She was from Michigan. She grew up there, and she'll go back for various different things sometimes. And she'll just be sitting at the bar somewhere, and somebody orders a bottle of Silver Oak, and she'll say, "Hey, you know, my son makes Silver Oak," and they'll just kind of look at her like, "Who is this crazy?"
That's awesome.
If she were in St. Helena, she'd end up in the police log.
Crazy lady talking about winemakers.
If people did that here, they'd be like, okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Here it's. I believe you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So the name Silver Oak, this is how I've always understand it. Tell me if I'm wrong. Is a combination between Silverado Trail and Oakville.
Yep.
Awesome. Wow.
Right?
Someone did their homework.
I know. People for showing up late.
They were going to call it Duncan Meyer.
Okay.
And Bonnie Meyer, who was Justin's wife. Justin passed away 20 years ago now, but Bonnie's still around doing well. She said, you know, she was like, that's not a good name. Hate it. And they said, okay, well, you know, what do you suggest? You know, they had the first vintage in barrel. I think they even had some shiners ready to go, and they had the label. It was like time to start selling wine. Actually, you know, making wine's the easy part, but let's get it out there in the market. Start bringing some cash in the door. And she said, you know, I've got it. We're halfway in between Silverado Trail and the town of Oakville, so Silver Oak. And they said, that's a terrible name.
No way.
And she said, well, I'm ordering the labels on Monday. You know, if you come up with something better by then, let me know. But if you don't, that's going to be the name.
And the label is, again, so classic Napa to me, but was that the original?
It really hasn't
label?
changed much at all, yeah. Especially the image itself, it hasn't changed much at all. We tried to, David Duncan was very upset about the fact that the vines kind of looked like California Spross, sort of old school vines, and so we tried to update it at one point.
Let's see. Oh, that's still sprawling on there.
And every time we tried, it just looked
work.
more like a lawn or a hedge or something. And so we kind of we left it. There was a little bit of an update, but everything else stayed virtually the same.
I love it.
Cool.
And the water tower is so classic too. So
Yeah.
I feel like the water tower, like people know when they see that it's Silver Oak.
yeah.
Yep. Totally.
And you guys even have like the water tower trailer that goes around to events with you. Have you seen this, Hillary?
No.
It's way cool.
That's nifty.
Explain. So how does that work?
So for the 40th anniversary in 2012, they put a small water tower on the back of a trailer with sort of some hydraulics.
Yeah.
It's always in the
tractor parade.
exactly.
That's
It's always
where
in the
I've
tractor
seen it.
parade. So that originally was built, and it traveled all over the country. So they took it on a road trip. They bought an Airstream, hitched the trailer to it, and would go to all sorts of landmarks and interesting places, and they'd raise the tower up and you do all sorts of events. And you know, it was the one thing I can say. I wasn't working here at the time for the 50th anniversary when we started talking about what we're going to do for the 50th. the very first thing everybody said is we're not doing the tower tour. So it seemed like it was probably a challenge.
A lot of work.
But I've heard a lot of great stories about it.
Nice.
There was one little town somewhere in the Midwest that they pulled into town and found out the next day happened to be the 4th of July. They found out the town was having a 4th of July parade and they were able to enter the parade sort of last minute on a whim. And I think they won like second place. And everyone was like, why else you're winery from Napa? You entered our little hometown 4th of July parade. And like, yeah, we wanted to be here.
Was there samples occurring? I'm hoping some.
Yeah, so
free
they
samples
would
right
pull
now?
up
Yep.
places. They'd do wine tastings, do
Cool.
wine dinners. They've got photos of it on Bourbon Street in New York City.
Fun.
What a great idea! You can't beat
It's
that
like
for
Flat
marketing.
Stanley growing up. Did you guys ever do
Yes,
that?
of course. Yeah.
Okay.
I had Flat Stanley in my helicopter over Afghanistan a few times.
Yeah. See, Flat Stanley.
Kids loved it.
Yep, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Flat
So
Stanley.
Flat Stanley is like a paper cutout of like a little man, and in like grammar school,
Grammar school. Wow, you sound old, Hillary.
I'm ancient. You mail it to relatives and people go on trips, and you take pictures with Flat Stanley everywhere you go.
Okay,
Yeah,
I see.
So
very cool.
that's nifty. Flat Stanley made it all the way to
He
Afghanistan.
did. Yeah, he made all.
Weirdly, no one's mailed it to the hospital for me to have, but
We should take it on 911 tour.
we'll make it all the way to Napa. North Napa.
And did you broke about in the cockpit?
Yeah, he flew along. He flew on some couple combat missions, and he got his combat patch. So
Wow.
good for Flat Stanley. He made it. Yeah.
How many
that guy
tours
won.
were you in Afghanistan?
2. I did Iraq in 08-09, Afghanistan in 11-12. So, yeah, which was exciting times. So, yeah. Anyway, and then Honduras in 13 and 14,
Okay.
which was arguably more fun and enjoyable.
Were you medevac or were you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Okay.
I was flew med. So, yeah, which is good. I always feel good about that. For the most part, helping people out. And, yeah.
And then he finally fulfilled his dream and came back and did this.
Finally, 911 was the
He's like, it was not fulfilling saving people in war zones and making a true difference in the world.
I
This
is what I've worked my whole life for, Hillary. Here I
Well,
am.
working in urgent care. I mean,
you know,
you guys need some fulfillment. I think both of you. I'm glad you're here.
yeah, I agree. We're just trying to do good to the valley.
Speaking of the valley, tell us about some history with you, with St. Helena, and like growing up here. What was it like?
It was such a great place to grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Small town. I remember distinctly the falls and seeing the gondolas roll through
Mm-hmm.
town and the smells of kind of the rotting pumice driving through certain
Yep.
parts of the valley. And
I don't mean to
fermentation.
interrupt, but I have a really good log that has to do with pumice.
Okay, well, let's hear it, and then we'll get back.
Okay.
We'll get back to the story.
Someone reported smelling propane on Silverado Trail, New Pratt Avenue. The smell turned out to be a large grape crushing operation, not a propane leak.
Perfect. Yeah, it can smell quite caustic. But I've always enjoyed it. I mean,
Well, it makes me think of home.
yeah.
So I always love it. when
And you
I
always smell
drive
right at
through.
like Whitehall, Pistones.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, Mateo and friends.
I can't imagine what big Pratt Avenue facility that might be.
That's a good question. Yeah, which
Behringer.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you guys.
Good call.
Yeah,
Thank
good.
you.
Good. She nailed it. She nailed it. Yep.
Are we really wondering? There's only like one.
all the
out
neighbors.
there. It was the
No.
old folks home at that time,
It's true.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. When did it become the CIA dorms?
I don't have that.
I don't know.
I'm
Probably
lost
15
in-
years ago.
I'm lost in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where exactly did you grow up on? On what street?
I was on Spring Street for
Spring
a long,
Street.
long time,
Cool.
and then we moved up to Madrone Knoll
Oh, cool.
when
Right
I was
on.
probably 12.
Yeah. Nice.
Went to RLS, went to St. Helena Elementary School. Former St. Helena Elementary School class president. Not gonna
Wow.
brag.
Elementary school class president.
Correct. Yes.
I didn't know they did that
Yes.
back then.
Yeah, they
That is
did.
impressive.
They did.
Okay. Well, your leadership skills have actually taken you pretty far. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was really the pinnacle of it.
Do you still keep that on your LinkedIn? Like
I
the
do.
first thing?
That's like
You know what? I've done all these amazing things in winemaking, but let's
Forget
go
about
back
the
to
education.
Helena Elementary School.
I was the
Oh
president.
my god, that's great.
Went
That was
to-
such a
went-
cool spot to go to school, though. I mean, really, that.
Yeah,
like,
it's a
that-
gorgeous little school. I love going back there now.
Yeah. Really
Going
is.
to playing on Carpy Field.
Yep.
I remember watching my dad play softball
Yeah.
in sort of the winery league on Carpy Field, and
There's a
yeah.
lot of coworker bonding there too. You know, I mean, everyone's working at a different winery or doing something unique, and it's always fun to kind of see all the folks you play softball with. So, are you on the softball league now? Or
Not on a
bocce?
softball team, bocce ball team.
Bocce. What's your bocce team?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to
You
say.
could say. Well,
Is this FCC regulated?
No, we are. What's the word? We're explicit. Do we have E behind our?
We can be E.
We can be E.
We
So
can
the
be E.
name of my bocce ball team is Balls Deep.
Balls. No, that's yeah, it's perfect.
We're on Niagara Balls.
And there's some friends of mine are on Balzania. I'm on the Sand Crabs. So Balls Deep. Balls Deep. That's a good one.
That's a good. What night do you play?
Tuesday night.
Oh man.
Tuesday night.
And how do you feel about Tuesday night? You can be honest. This is a safe space.
I just joined Tuesday night. I played on Wednesday night for the longest time on a
Okay.
team called Quattro Stupidos.
Okay.
And so just became a free agent last season.
Okay.
And joined up. And I actually quite like the Balls Deep crew. It's a bunch of people I know from the industry. One of my Quattro Stupidos teammates came with me, so it's a good group of people.
Nice.
And they don't bust my chops too much for showing up late or not showing up at all. Or
I may get one a month, so
Yeah.
if I'm lucky. Yeah.
yeah, it's good to be on a team that's got like 10, so you
Yeah.
can have kind of like a
Got some bench.
30% not
Yeah.
showing up rate, and you're still fine.
I agree.
We were running a little lean on Quattro Stupidos, and so there were nights it was like
So the Quattro Stupido, did they disband or did
no,
they?
no,
okay.
they're still playing.
Got
Still
it.
playing.
Okay, good.
Still playing. It was I couldn't keep up. I couldn't commit
Yeah.
to every single week.
Yeah, I agree.
Now the Balls Deep folks will get on my case if I show up without wine.
Okay, that's fair.
So,
Yeah.
Understandable.
That's my favorite part about bocce is obviously
Social hour.
social drinking wine. It's great fun.
Sometimes it's more
Yeah.
than an hour.
Yeah.
and what night?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Hillary's Wednesday.
And Wednesday. I want to be Thursday.
Okay,
I'm very opinionated about this.
it makes a
Thursday's-
difference.
It makes a
Yes.
huge
The night
difference.
is important.
Thursday's very important. It's the best
Because
one.
Wednesday, I feel like I don't get to fully enjoy it,
Well.
but because there's 2 more work days. But Thursday, I'm like, it's only Friday.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of where you grew up at, this was on November 5th on Friday, 2031, 8:30 in the evening. A car was reported stolen from Spring Street. It turned out to be the car from the last call. It had been towed, not stolen. See the last call, 1936. A car was completely blocking a driveway on Spring Street. Police couldn't locate its owner, so they had it towed.
So I have a fantastic story that reminds me.
Yeah.
When we were living on Spring Street, my dad had this old Honda. It was like a Honda Civic. Probably thinking like early 80s Honda Civic. And he came out one day and the car was gone, and he was like, "Car's stolen." So he called the police and reported it stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, later that day, somebody comes pulling right back up in front of our house in the car. And it turned out that model of Civic, any key from the same model would start the car. And so somebody had gotten into the car, started it up, driven to work, not realizing they weren't even in their own car because their key worked just fine. And They sort of pulled up, he walked out. And this is like the beauty of, small town in the 80s. He was like, "Hey, that's my car."
Did it work?
That's my car, man. Yeah, sure enough. The other person said, "Boy, I thought it was weird that there was, that jacket in the back seat. That wasn't mine."
That is insane.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Till you're up.
Okay. Someone from a Main Street business asked for help with an intoxicated man. He would like to be removed from the premise. The drunk patron seemed to have a problem with the sign hanging on the wall.
Huh?
Like the drunk man didn't like what was on the wall.
Oh.
I feel like I have an idea of where this was. Do you want to guess?
Probably a local Main Street bar.
I guess it's 8 p.m. So probably. I was thinking somewhere else.
I was thinking Anna's. It's
I was
always
thinking,
Anna's.
I was thinking Junie's.
I was thinking
That could be Junie's.
Yeah, because there's so much
There's
propaganda
lots of
on the wall,
propaganda.
and if
That's
you're
true.
a little drunky and you're a little opinionated, that could
You may not like cigarette smokers make better lovers. John Aquila.
you may not
That's
be
one
your
up
vibe.
there. Yeah.
So that's what I was thinking.
Now, the important salient question: Ginny Juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Totally.
Ginny- okay.
Yes.
You? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah,
But
good.
this
Okay.
is a new question: Junie's or Sunshine?
Oh yeah.
I tell you, I have been a Sunshine fan more lately. It's just
Well,
quick. It's quick and easy.
Yeah, well, Junie's prices keep going up.
Really. Mm.
And they take credit cards now.
They do,
That's
which
true.
is really lovely.
Yeah.
Which is very lovely.
But Junie's is the staple. I mean, if ever I have anyone who comes here, I always take them to Junie's. Safeway's is quick, or Sunshine is quick if I need
Mm-hmm.
it. But Junie's is the spot. You just got to commit to.
I feel like
No.
I feel like I grew up. I was weaned on those sandwiches.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Dutch Crunch. Yeah. Mm. Fantastic.
I also have a dead skunk on Spring Street between Hudson and Allen. Public Works was notified.
Perfect. Lots of drama, lots of emotions in these logs. Also on Friday, November the 12th, 11:46 in the morning, a man got upset about a pump not working at a Main Street gas station. He reportedly burned rubber and almost ran someone over as he drove away in his black Lincoln.
Uh-oh.
Maybe that was, who's the guy that sells Lincolns?
What?
Who's the guy that sells Lincolns on the television during advertisements?
I don't have cable.
Mr. McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey. That is not all right. Matthew McConaughey.
That sounds like a city slicker to me, though.
That probably is.
Yeah.
God forbid you burn rubber on Main Street. Desecrate our little town.
Oh man, I can hear him now.
Do you have any good ones?
I've got a couple here. 1847 on November 22nd, a caller had video surveillance footage of an incident that occurred Thursday night.
What was the incident?
That they don't say.
Ooh.
But
Scandalous.
I'm very curious now
curious.
to hear about this incident.
If anyone knows, please email us
Yeah.
or DM us.
I had a weird prank call the other night. Does anyone get prank calls anymore?
Yeah.
Really?
I silence
You make
all.
them or you get them?
No, I silence all unknown numbers.
Well, anyway, I answered at like 11 o'clock at night. It's like, hello? And this lady was like, hi, Chris. Knew my name. Like, your dad gave me your phone number. We're your neighbors. So it was really kind of weird. I was like, okay, well, this must be legitimate. Like, and I just need to ask you a question. It sounds really crazy. And I was like, hit me. Like, I've seen a lot of crazy things. It's like, no, we're seeing paranormal activity and there's ghosts around our house. And one is in the kitchen right now cooking. And I'm really scared. And it's going, oh my God, it's coming after me. Oh my God, it's right behind me. It's telling me to follow me. What do I do? Help. And then I heard the laughing. And I was like, that was pretty good. That was pretty funny. I kind of, for a minute, was like looking outside. Are the ghosts there?
Was someone watching you through the window?
Maybe.
They sound young?
They was like middle-aged.
That's
But it was a little creepy. And then I heard like someone in the back giggling, and I was like, "Have you had any recreational drugs tonight? Like, because if so, like, it sounds good. Whatever you're on, like, can I get some?" That's a joke.
Reminds me of the.
Yeah.
Is your refrigerator running?
Yeah. Go catch it.
Go catch
Yeah,
it.
Go catch it.
So anyway,
That would freak me out. I'm impressed you answered an unknown number though at 11 p.m.
you never know.
Hillary, are you familiar with Star 69?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what.
I use that often actually.
You do?
I do because sometimes I have to call patients from
Huh.
home, and there's no way they're getting my cell phone number.
So you have a landline?
Smart.
No, I do it from my cell phone.
Oh, from your cell phone? Okay.
Yeah.
That's smart.
Oh no, wait.
No.
Is star 69
67.
a redial?
67.
What's the block one?
67.
I know.
Star 67.
Star 67's block.
Yeah, mhm.
I always have to Google it first.
I'm not a prank caller.
But star 69 is where you call back.
Yes.
Okay.
So back when we all had landlines,
I do remember.
Mm-hmm.
I had a landline, guys. I'm not that young.
somebody would prank call you and you'd star 69 and,
Okay.
and see who answered the phone.
That's true.
And you were really SOL when somebody star 69'd you when you were prank calling because if you let it go would go to the machine and they would know,
They would know who it
who
is.
you were.
Ah,
Okay.
That's a good point.
And if you didn't, you'd have to answer and they would find out who you were.
Oh,
So many
Good
a
trick.
Friday, Saturday night in our
Yeah.
LS
Okay.
were spent doing this.
okay. Yeah, star 67 is the one I use now.
Smart. So after high school, what did you do? What led you to a world
Yeah.
of life and wine?
So my parents sent me over to Santa Rosa. I went to Cardinal Newman High School.
Okay.
And my mom moved to Santa Rosa when I was, I believe, if I recall, a sophomore.
Yep.
And my sister went to Ursuline. And kind of after growing up in St. Helena, like a lot of kids, what do you want to do?
Leave.
Get out.
Wow, that was quick. Okay, Hel.
So I went to UCSB.
What a great spot.
What a great spot.
Oh my God.
You know, there was a beach, there was a lot of partying, which was exactly what I was after.
Perfect.
Not necessarily the academic programs, and met my wife there. Had a great time, great education, but probably like junior year figured out I was going to have to work for a living,
Damn.
which was very disappointing.
Rough.
Yeah, we weren't independently wealthy, unfortunately. And really kind of thought about what I wanted to do, and you get away from a town like St. Helena and you go, what a great place to have a family, to really like settle down and have roots. I can't afford it anymore, so I live in Napa instead, but so really thought about coming back into the wine business. So basically, long story short, since graduating from college, I've never done anything else other than work in the wine business.
Cool.
So
what did you study at UCSB?
I studied neuroscience.
Cool. Yeah. So
there was a pharmacology component to it,
yeah.
which I kind of think that's what I do now to some extent.
Well, you had the chemistry background, right?
Yeah.
So you had that going.
So I went back to Davis, got a graduate degree there, kind of started my career, got married. We have 4 kids now, live in Napa, which also is a great place to raise kids.
Yeah, totally.
And again, I don't know what else I would do. If it doesn't work out, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe pump gas or something.
We're looking for a social media person, so.
To be our producer. You used to be the guy that carries around all the cords that Chris forgets. Oh my God. Certainly there's enough work for that, just not enough pay for it.
But we were talking sponsorship before you got here.
Oh, perfect.
We had a lot of good ideas.
Perfect. I love it. We've got lots of ideas, not a lot of takers.
We just don't have time.
That's true. This is as I always say, low production quality, high authenticity.
Yeah.
So.
A lot of passion.
Yes.
We're passionate about police logs.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Does anyone have another good log? Speaking of police logs.
Saturday, November 20th, 1638, murky water was coming from faucets on a Highway 29 property. Public Works was notified.
Still convinced that's the cholera outbreak.
Did you have it? Was there a cholera outbreak in St. Helena?
No, but there could have been.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Coming any day.
What do you see the greatest threat health-wise to St. Helena is, Hillary?
I think we're drinking it.
ETOH. I would agree.
This interview is over. How dare you?
But there's so many good health qualities and
is.
community, so maybe it's actually
It's
a positive thing.
It's an overall, 100%
Everything
overall
in
bonus.
balance.
Yeah. We're not making Bud Light here.
No, everything in balance.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything in moderation, including moderation.
That's my favorite quote. I love that. The second biggest threat to St. Helena happened on Saturday, November 27th at 8 o'clock in the morning. 2 coyotes were seen near Miley Park. The 2 appeared to be aggressive and followed a man who was walking his dog just before 8 a.m. Public Works has put up signs at the park reading, quote, warning, / coyotes in area, do not feed coyotes, keep pets on leash. If a coyote approaches and appears large and aggressive, make loud noises, back away slowly, do not run. And Napa County Wildlife Services, 707-253-4357. That is all on the warning letter. Police advise to be careful and keep pets on leashes. That is a very detailed explanation of what to do if you see a coyote.
Well, I don't think some people know.
Well, the fact that if it appears large and aggressive, make loud noises. What if it appears small and aggressive?
Well, some people probably don't know what a large coyote looks like. Or people don't know how to differentiate between small and big.
I don't know. Would you rather fight one large or one horse-sized chicken or 100 chicken-sized horses?
Don't coyotes, aren't they normally in packs?
They are.
Of 2, apparently.
So
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to encounter a bunch of them. And then doesn't one normally sound wounded too?
I don't know. I've never lived with a coyote troop.
Weird.
I don't know.
I have noticed our little coyote pack here, they look better fed this year than they've looked in a long time.
Think there's more rabbits available?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't explain it, but
There's been more rain.
maybe they've been hanging out in the park. And
Eating little
They're
dogs.
taking the wine train up and down the valley. You know.
There are probably high-class coyotes out there.
Probably.
Yeah. They know what they've got. Do you guys have animals on the Silver Oak property? Sure.
we have a pack of coyotes that
Okay.
they live somewhere back near Concrete there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not totally sure where, but you can hear them whelping at night for sure.
Yep.
They're actually they get really loud. We have a pair of ospreys that hang out on this telephone pole
Nice.
here. There's a big nest. Those are really cool birds
Yeah.
to see up close. I was shocked how big they were.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge. We were talking before you came about we have some sheep.
No way.
Some old mangy sheep that are getting up there in years.
That's right up Hillary's alley. Oh,
Yeah,
that's great.
they're up in Philo, and I think I'm just gonna let them die off. And,
Or I'm going to adopt them all.
you can have them. You can have them. We use them actually for keeping fuel down.
Cool.
In the areas that we can't really easily do fuel mitigation ourselves. We don't really use them in the vineyard. We use them for that purpose.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys can speak on this more than me, but so this time of year we have all the sheep friends that come in. Can we talk about why we have them? Not just for me to like drive by and wave to them.
Sure. I mean, yeah. In most vineyards, I think they're just eating the cover crop, right?
Yeah.
And it's more. Is it more cost effective to go out and have them do that than like?
We're thinking about in place of actually having animals, we're thinking about bringing in a pack that'll come for a month and then move on somewhere else. And I think it especially is so like this winter with all the rain we've had.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when we're going to be able to get tractors into the fields to do weed control.
So it makes more sense for them.
You can get the sheep in there. They won't compact the soil and cause as many problems as tractors will.
And they fertilize.
And they fertilize at the same time.
Okay.
I think you have to have the right breed rights once the growing season starts if you want to have them weed. If they're tall enough to get up there and actually chew off the shoots and stuff, they'll do it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So there's a certain breed that people like to use. And they sure are. They're awful cute.
They're really cute.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of good stuff about them, but I think in terms of like in the spring and summer when it gets drier, as far as cost, it's probably not cheaper. I think we were looking at it was going to cost us, I think, $20,000 to do it was like $500 to $1,000 an acre.
Wow. Interesting.
Okay.
And then how far does your property go all the way to the river?
Actually, none of this is ours around us.
Got it.
The only place, this is all belongs to Constellation.
Mm-hmm.
The Duncans sold it all off when they built the winery. Actually, when they sold Franciscan. So the Duncan family and the Myers owned Franciscan at one point.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And probably, I think it was about 79 or 80 they sold Franciscan to Augustin Huneeus.
Yep.
And a lot of this property around us went with it. So the only thing they kept was there's a house at the end of the driveway.
Yep.
That's on the same parcel as the acreage there. So they kept that acreage because the house was there, and that is Ray Duncan's widow that lives there.
Okay. No way. On Galeron then.
On here. Right, like literally at the end of the driveway.
This one. Got it.
Yeah,
yes.
on Oakville Crossroad.
Got it. Not the Franciscan one. Got it.
Not Franciscan.
Interesting. Yeah, so then when Franciscan and Augustin Huneeus sold to Constellation, all of that went with that sale.
So this is all now Constellation.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Cool. Good to know.
And Franciscan is now
The Prisoner.
The Prisoner.
Yeah.
Prisoner Wine Company. I've not been in there yet.
I walked it. I did go there once. It's interesting. It's like it's great for like a bachelorette party weekend. If anyone was like, I want to have a bachelorette party weekend, I would say
all you have
go.
To say. That gave me the whole aesthetic.
Go to the Prisoner. It's perfect. I mean, it's very pretty in there. They've got lots of
Instagram moments.
Instagrammable activities, and it would be fun.
So my wife and I went downtown Napa a few months ago before the holidays, and there's a new wine bar down there that it's tailored, designed for bachelor parties.
No way.
And we get a ton more, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
It's called Wine. I think it's called Wine Girl or something.
This again does not shock me.
Yeah, it's very Instagrammable.
Oh, God, that's amazing.
Very Instagrammable. It's got a backdrop where you can take all your photos.
Wow.
And my wife loved it. She thought it was awesome.
Interesting.
Okay.
Cool. All
Was
right.
the wine good?
They don't make their own wine. They sort of serve other people's wine. They had some minor wines and a few others. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Very nice. So yeah, there's
We do our
options.
influencer episode.
We should do an influencer episode. That'd be fun. It'd be very fun. So no, you know what I always say, Napa's got room for everybody. So I don't mean that pejoratively. I mean it like it does. Like there's room for everybody. If you want to just come up and have a drink and just go to a place and just have wine and be able to talk amongst yourselves with your friends, like that's a good place for it. If you're more interested in the study of wine and you want to go somewhere that has a little bit more detail associated with it, then you go to somewhere like Silver Oak or winery.
A very political answer.
No, I mean that. I mean,
you can geek out
Yeah,
and go
yeah.
If
go
you
get
really-
like a terroir tour.
If you want to really
This is not me hating. I'm being.
No, if you want a really
it's a very good
fancy high-end tour, then you go to one of the Harlan Estates and you get the beautiful, well-curated tours. if you want to go hang out with me at the vineyard and have a La Luna burrito, you can do that too. So,
So you choose the burrito over the quesadilla. That's a bold move.
Taco Azteca has the best burritos.
I was at Azteca today.
There you go. You're a good man. Good
I
man.
maybe ate their nachos for dinner last night.
See, La Luna is high risk, high reward.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
It is delicious, but it'll get you sometimes.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
This is good.
Just rolling those dice.
Worth it.
And the really interesting thing is seeing the revitalization of downtown Napa.
Great, huh?
All those places to stay now, and there's all those places to hang out. It's almost as though you don't have to come up Valley anymore, which I think it really works for some people. Mm-hmm. Although it's really kind of sad to come to this agricultural gem and then stay in the biggest city and not really leave.
Yes.
Because really, I think, getting the sense of what we do here is much more up Valley in the preserve.
Totally. Yeah, and I think what you see is a lot of folks stay in Napa and they sleep in Napa, and there's enough rooms for people in Napa, so they kind of tend to stay there. And what we miss out on here is that the folks that don't stay in San Leandro or Calistoga, you miss out on the winery traffic or the restaurant traffic, and that can be kind of bad. So hopefully, I think there are a couple hotels in the works in San Leandro. I know Long Meadow Ranch or Farmstead is building their hotel.
Oh, really?
That's coming this year.
I didn't know that.
Is the word.
I don't know.
There's been a couple other hotels that have been pitched, basically, but I don't know if those are going to happen.
There's always the El Bonita.
El Bonita, yeah, they did. Did you see they redid their whole driveway?
I did. I drove past it.
Yeah, so very nice. But anyway, yes, it's
one of our favorite lunch spots is Golden Harvest.
Oh,
I don't know how you guys feel about Golden Harvest.
I love Golden
Harvest. I
Harvest.
was just talking about that the other night, how I have not been there in years, and I got very nostalgic and may go get that tonight for dinner.
I went with my grandparents there a lot as a kid, and it was so fun. And
they would come have, like birthday dinners there.
Mm-hmm. And I really feel that Golden Harvest gets a lot of hate that it doesn't deserve.
I'm going back.
Well, all right, let's go.
They had the Lazy Susan, which I thought as a child was the coolest invention ever.
So much fun. Yes. So anyway.
Good spot.
Yeah.
Agreed. Man.
Cool. Does anyone have a good log to close us out?
Ooh.
Oh yeah, you do.
I do. I've got two. October 19th, 1946, an Edward Street resident reported having a rat trapped in the kitchen, possibly behind a toaster oven. She asked for officers to help remove it. She was told it was not a police matter and to contact pest control instead.
I like to hope that the rat got out of the house safely.
How is this not a police matter is what I want to know.
I don't know.
So I kind of, we make fun of these, but I get how people get confused.
What
Because
do you
our
do?
police are very helpful.
Sure.
And, we don't really have a lot of this high city crime or big city crime. So, some days they probably have the time and have helped with these issues in the past.
Sure. And look at where it got them. Now they have the job, the rat police.
Big city
They
rats.
gave it up.
True.
They're not claiming it anymore.
Public Works, Animal Control, whatever.
And then another rodents. Columbard Court resident reported having a bat in their living room, and this was only 23 minutes later. It went out the front door momentarily without causing any harm.
Perfect.
Wow. Was this during the day?
Nope. 7:45 and that's at 8:08.
What disease was started by a bat? Was that COVID?
It was COVID. Yes, Hillary. Welcome to 2023. Oh my God.
I swear there was another bad disease. I'm thinking of Ebola.
There's lots of other things that I'm sure bats carry. All right, so I am actually excited at the end of we should have done this earlier, but the 2018 cab from Silver Oak.
So we released this. What's today? Today's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day.
So this was then a week ago Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We released this wine.
Nice.
We have these big release parties every 6 months for Alexander Valley or Napa Valley. It's always February for Napa and August for Alexander Valley. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of fun. It's we had I think 1,000 people come through during the day.
Wow.
And it's part of Silver Oak's tradition is we hold the wines for a really long time. So 2018 is the current release. So
2 years in barrel, 2 years in bottle.
2 years in barrel, 2 years in bottles, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
And we're a little late to go to barrel because of our winemaking style. So anyway, it's kind of it's almost hard to think of what we were doing back in 2018. It seems like forever ago to me. You're looking at me like you're crazy though.
No,
that was my first year. It was our first year back.
It was our first year back,
You
but
and
I was having like grad school PTSD in that moment. That's
Yeah.
why my face went kind of blank because I was like, oh god, I remember.
COVID wasn't even a figment of our imagination.
I remember 2018 very vividly.
And I'm sure you remember the vintage.
Yeah, it was a great vintage. It was
Great
beautiful.
vintage,
I mean,
yeah.
it was plentiful. We had a lot of grapes. It was all really well balanced and good fruit. And I'm assuming you guys had similar experience.
It was kind of the last time we felt like we had a lot, right? I think 2019 was a big one for us too, for whatever reason. But certainly since then, it's just been little vintage after little vintage.
It's been rough. In 2020, how did that go? Did you guys make anything or not?
We did. We
Okay.
made some.
Cool.
A lot less than we wanted to, but we made some. And actually, I'm really glad about that now because
it's fun now to see the critics slowly start to turn into, hey, this is okay. So I mean,
they always do that, right? They write everything off at a certain point.
Maybe it's not too bad. So Bond is making some wine. These big wineries are slowly starting to release their 2020s, and everyone's is like tiptoeing into this, saying it's actually good. It's okay.
Yeah. So Ovid doesn't have a 2020 estate wine, unfortunately, which sucks.
Oh, we have a fire call.
Uh-oh.
Where are we going? As long as it's not Silver Oak, we're turning it off.
Is there a bat somewhere?
Where's the bat? So back to the 2020. People are coming around. You guys made a 2020.
We did. We made less than we wanted to.
Yep.
And certainly it depended on where you were. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of one of the beauties of our business model is we own vineyards and farm vineyards kind of all over the valley and buy vineyards all over the valley from growers. So there were certainly things that were affected and things that weren't.
Cool.
Which was helpful, very helpful.
Yeah, you could do some barrel selections. Yeah.
Do some barrel selections. The really interesting part about 2020 was being partners with the growers and making sure that we all were on the same page and making sure everybody was taken care of, because that was really the hardest part, I thought, was how to manage those relationships when there was something going on that none of us had really experienced before. So anyway, it worked out quite well. I'm really glad we have the wines now. I wish we had more, but that's 21 and 22 as well. Yeah.
How is 23 looking, do we think? I mean, I know we don't even have bud break yet, but...
it's sort of a fool's errand to predict, but all signs right now point to a pretty big harvest with the
rain.
With the rain, and then when you get a lot of rain, there's a lot of soil moisture, there's a lot of nitrogen fixation, so there's going to be a lot of nitrogen in the spring.
Okay.
Nice. And how did 22 go for you guys with the heat spike?
That sure was interesting.
Yeah. It was a tough one, huh? Yeah.
I don't remember that growing up here as kids. I remember it being hot sometimes, but I don't remember it being that
115, 116. Yeah, it's
casual.
Yeah.
I got into my car at Ovid one day and it was 122.
Oh my God.
Sort of like 105 felt cool
Yeah.
during that period. The wines ended up really good. I'm quite happy with the wines. Cool. Surprisingly, in some cases, everything was higher sugar than we wanted. So there was, the alcohols are higher than typical for us, which is just going to be part of the vintage's nature, I guess. I was surprised at how fresh and approachable the wines were, though. I was expecting a lot of stuff to taste
more stewy or raisiny, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Cool.
But they worked out quite well. Pretty proud of the winemaking team for what they did.
Yeah, a year like that, the winemakers really make their money because you got a really critical pick time dates and very critical in the what you do and your additions and everything. But this 18 man is awesome.
Thank you. And then the grower relations and maintaining those open communication to actually get stuff picked. That was the other hard part. Is when you're not just a small estate winery and you work with a lot of different growers, making sure that everybody actually is able to get stuff picked when you want. That's a challenge in and of itself.
Just timing and having the crews to pick everything quickly, which we needed to.
All that I need the grower relations person to do is see into the future and predict the future.
That's it, easy.
But they're actually really good at that, and they are pretty good about making sure they have picking slots available one way or another. Nice. So the other thing about Silver Oak that's really unusual is only American oak.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard that. So explain that.
That was
thought process.
So I think Justin Meyer, when he made the first wines back in the 70s,
It's a tiny little splash.
he was sort of used to that,
Thank you.
working. He had come from the Christian Brothers, and that was kind of normal back in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Everybody used American oak because it was what you could get. You could get whiskey casks. You couldn't necessarily get cognac casks. And for whatever reason, he really liked it. He stuck with it. He found this cooperage in Missouri that he actually had to convince to make wine barrels. For the life of me, I don't know why he sort of zeroed in this one cooperage that only made whiskey barrels, and convinced them they should start making barrels for him. And of course, the difference is the whiskey barrels are charred. We don't really like char necessarily. We want toast, but not set it on fire and put it out. And convinced them to do that, and really that's been the main cooperage for Silver Oak now for probably 45 of the 50 years of our existence. And we actually own it now.
Wow.
So we bought half of it in the early 2000s and then bought the other half in 2015.
No way.
Do you
All in
ever-
Missouri. You said
All in
Missouri.
Missouri.
Do
Yeah.
you ever take company field trips there?
I go there usually once a year during
That would be
COVID.
so
No way.
fun.
So
yeah, Missouri's different. You've been to Missouri?
I have not.
Yeah.
I love
You've
Missouri. Yeah, I've been
right?
a lot. Yeah,
I've
oh my
been
God.
a lot of other southern places,
Yeah,
but not
Kansas
Missouri
City. I
yet.
spent some time there. That's really cool.
So
So
I feel like it would be a fun, like such a different experience.
yeah.
It's not like going to see barrels in France.
So how does that work with the oak trees then? How long do they have to grow? How many acres do they have? Like, how does that all work to make these
So
barrels?
you have to grow a tree for, I think it's around 100 years
Whoa.
before you can harvest it. But it grows like a weed all over North America. So Missouri, it's like there's really no danger of running out of trees.
Yeah.
We own about 300 acres of timberland. And we're just going to start harvesting our own trees this year.
Nice.
Which we were laughing about the other day. We're gonna the mill. There's a mill literally right behind our cooperage. So we're gonna take our trees to that mill. They swear they're gonna be able to keep track of the staves. We'll be able to sort of make our own barrels out of our own trees, and we just hope they don't suck.
Yeah.
We hope they're actually good barrels out of our own trees.
That's way cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of cool.
Nice.
But there's no challenge of running out of oak in Missouri. There's just so much there that it's not a huge problem. So it's really about controlling the stave supply was the hard part because there's a lot of people competing, especially when the whiskey business is doing well, which right now it's on fire. There's people competing for those staves because Brown-Forman's making. I think they're making like 7,000 barrels a day. We make about 3,000 barrels a year.
Wow.
Just to feed those programs
Yeah.
for spirits.
So it's not so much wood, but it's the manufacturing to make them into staves, or it's just staves period,
It's
including
basically
wood?
so loggers and landowners will take their logs, they'll sell them to the stave mill, who will
Okay.
make them into staves, and then staves can be used for all sorts of different stuff. You've got sort of furniture, and you've got construction needs, and kind of how all these businesses are doing. Kind of they all compete for this same wood supply.
Yeah.
And the wine barrels, we're kind of the prima donnas, the wine people, because we've got to have just the right staves. They can't have any knots in them. They can't have this. They can't have that. So we have a really high quality control needs, because if you don't, the barrel will leak. And so often we're the first one where they kind of go like, we don't need to deal with you guys. If Brown-Forman is paying X amount per meter of stave wood, you gotta pay at least twice that. So securing that wood supply is the hard part. Because we've got to get the wood in so we can season it for 2 years, so we can make a barrel 2 years after that.
I think that's the most underrated, not understood part of the wine industry is how much work goes into
I had no idea
barrels.
it took that long for a barrel.
Like you're aging the barrels as long as you're aging the wine or aging the wood, right?
And when we bought the business, classic hubris of going, it's an easy business.
Sure.
You bring wood in, you make it into a barrel later, no problem. No, it's actually really complicated too. And we've been learning as we go as to how to run a cooperage. But it is basically wood in, wood out. But the hard part is anticipating how many barrels you're going to need in 2 years.
Can you leave a barrel once it's made and toasted? Can you leave it for a couple of years and it'd be okay, or does it lose something in that?
I know in France they love to fill them as soon as they possibly can after they make them. We do make barrels year round. We can't just sort of ramp up and run the place for 24 hours a day for June and July and get ourselves the barrels we need. So we're making barrels all year round. I can't say I've seen a huge difference in the timing of making the barrel necessarily. We've done a lot of experiments around seasoning and kind of how long is the right amount of time, and we've kind of found there is a minimum seasoning, but there's also a maximum, which sort of might, for any winemakers listening, might blow their mind a bit. But we have found you can actually season that stays too long.
Too much. Yeah.
That's
Really
so cool.
interesting. So back full circle to why you guys use American. What do you find different or that you like about American oak versus French oak, or vice versa?
American oak, famous for coconut, vanilla. Those are like kind of the classic things. When it's not seasoned properly, dill characters or eucalyptus or things like that. It's really potent, so it's good that we age the wines for 2 years after bottle, because as soon as right after we bottle, I mean that oak. It's sort of like French oak and American oak are related. Like they have some different compounds, aromatic compounds that are different isomers and things. But it's really, a lot of them are the same, and American oak just turns it up to like 11.
Nice.
So when the wines are first bottled, they're very potently oaky.
Yeah.
What I love is when they get to be about 20 years old, there's still like this nuance of American oak in them. There's a little bit of that vanilla and coconut character that's still present. That I think actually makes the wines much more interesting at that age.
Nice. Do you ever convert people who are like, oh, French oak is the only way to go, blah, blah, and then you're like, well, try this. And do they change their opinion?
There's some. Yeah, I think it's you're never going to convert somebody like that. It's sort of damned by faint praise in that they're like, they try the wines and they go, actually, hey, that's pretty good. Yeah. Not so much, oh yeah, I love American oak. What do I know? They don't do that. But people do like, I think intuitively they like American oak. They just don't know it.
Yes.
So if you like bourbon, you like Scotch, you like American oak.
If we want to try your American oak wine, where do we find it? How do we buy it? Where do we find you?
We're not too hard to find. Again, we're a well-represented brand. So Silver Oak is a very well-known brand. So you can just about anywhere in the country, you can probably find it on a wine list somewhere. Okay. But if you're in the Valley, come visit us. We have a winery in Oakville. We have a winery in Healdsburg where we make the Alexander Valley. We're not going to talk about that because we're Napa Valley kids. But
it's a whole other.
We do cross over. We cross that mountain range into the other side and make some wine in Sonoma County as well. And both wineries are open to the public and pretty fun places to visit where you can taste current releases, a few library wines, maybe even some of the Toomey wines if you talk real sweet to the tasting room staff.
Cool.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Nate, thanks so much. This was really cool.
Thank you for having me.
Cool.
A great lesson in like differences between oak and all the different wineries.
I feel very educated.
The different labels that Silver Oak has. I learned a lot, and thank you again.
Yay!
All
Cheers!
Right. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
All right, Hillary, did you have fun today?
I always have fun on field trips.
Good. Well, who's our next guest?
Well, I think we're going to have to stay tuned for that one, but it's going to be our Easter episode.
Easter. Fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Bunnies and eggs and Cadbury treats and...
Peeps and...
Are you a peep person?
No, I hate peeps.
See, I love peeps.
It's disgusting.
I think that's really where people like either bond or fall apart is their love of peeps.
Well, we've always been on different pages with lots of things.
That's true, but yet here we are, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned, everyone. Bye.
You enjoy your evening and be safe.